Welcome everyone to Yoga Basics. Today, the props that we will be using are a yoga strap. If you have 2 blocks, then you may want to go ahead and grab them, and a chair. And then sitting comfortably on your mat, on some folded blankets, or even on your block. We'll just take a few moments to prepare the body. So closing the eyes and turning the awareness inward. Just taking a few moments to notice how your body feels. Especially noting any areas of tension or tightness. And then taking 2 deep cleansing breaths. So take a nice big inhale through the nose. And then exhale it all out by blowing or sighing it out. And one more nice big inhale. And exhale it all out. And then soften the muscles of the face. Relax the muscles of the neck and the shoulders. And then turn the attention to the breath. Notice the inhale. And notice the exhale. And then we'll begin a nice, even breathing. Inhaling and exhaling to a count of 4. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. And just continue with this nice, even breathing. If at any time it makes you lightheaded or dizzy, just go back to your own normal breathing pattern. And then we also set an intention for each practice to help remind us why we are here. So that may be a benefit you would like to receive, or just an uplifting or a positive thought or phrase. So think of an intention that you'd like to have for your practice today. And then with your next inhale, go ahead and lift your head and open your eyes. If you do have the legs folded and you want to switch that top leg, go ahead and do that. And then we'll begin our warm-up by turning our heads to look out over that right shoulder. And coming back to center and turning to look out over the left. And back to center, dropping the chin to the chest. And then picking the chin up towards the ceiling and jutting that lower jaw out. And coming back to center and dropping the right ear to the right shoulder. And back to center. And left ear to left shoulder. And coming back to center, extending the hands out in front, open and close the fingers. And then some wrist circles. And reverse. And then bringing the hands back to the lap and doing some shrugs. And the next time you pick those shoulders up, roll them to the back. And then bringing the shoulders back to neutral. Extending the arms out in front, elbows and palms together, and then clasping the hands. And with an inhale, extending the elbows out and looking up, lifting the chest. And with your exhale, then folding into center, bringing the elbows together and dropping the chin. And then inhale, expanding out. Exhale, folding into center. Inhale, expand. Exhale, center. Let's try it once more. Inhale and exhale. Good. And then bringing the arms down. Take the right hand, bring it to the outside of that right hip. Inhale, sweep the left arm up, and exhale, bending to the right. And then coming back to center, switch hands. So inhale with that right arm, and exhale then to the left. Good. Coming back to center. Coming into a twist, we'll take the left hand, place it on the right knee. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, bring that right arm around behind you as you turn and look to the right. Good, and then release back to the center and switch sides. So right hand on the left. Again, inhale to lengthen the spine, and then exhale, turn and look to the left. And then releasing back to center. If you did have those legs folded, extend them out in front of you, shake them out a little bit. And then taking your hands, placing them behind the right thigh, we'll pull the knee in and extend it out. And the next time you pull it in, hold it there, point and flex the foot. And then some ankle circles. And reverse. Good. And then switch legs, same thing on the left, starting with the knee and the thigh, just bending and extending. And then pulling that knee in, hold it there, point and flex the foot. And then some ankle circles. And reverse. And then we'll come onto hands and knees. So if you would like to pad your knees and shins, go ahead and open up your blanket. Back a little bit. And then as you come onto hands and knees, remember to bring the wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And we'll come into the spinal warm-up of cat-cow. So with the inhale, lifting the chest and the sits bones, arching the spine. Exhale, press into the hands, rounding the back, dropping the chin to the chest for cat. Inhale, back to cow. Exhale into cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And again, inhale. And exhale. Good. Bringing the spine back to neutral and then coming into child's pose. Supporting the head by stacking the fists or grabbing a block. And just take a few breaths here. And then extending the arms out in front of you, coming back up to hands and knees, and then either coming into puppy pose. Remember, you walk your hands forward and then drop the chest down, keeping the knees on the mat, or downward facing dog. Again, the arms are still extended a little bit in front. Curl your toes, press into the base of the thumb and index finger, and lift the hips. So either pose, holding here, keep a bend in the knee, or begin to straighten the knee by walking the dog, or bending one knee and then the other, straightening or holding. And continue to breathe. Good. And then with your exhale, go ahead and come back to hands and knees. And then sweep your lower legs to the side so you can walk your hips down and then bring the legs out in front of you. And then coming back to your folded blanket here. So we're going to do a couple prep poses here leading up to triangle pose. So the first one we're going to do is Baddha Konasana. So sitting on your blanket, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, bringing the knees out to the side. Now, when you sit here, the important thing is not to round that low back. So sitting up on the blanket will help to lift the pelvis and tilt it a little bit forward. We've done this a number of times, bringing the arms around behind us, bringing your palms to the floor, fingertips are pressing away from you. And then as you press into your hands, that'll give you the leverage to press into your knees and open up through the hips a little bit. So if you find you're rounding here, try this. This will help support the spine. Good. So we'll just take a few breaths here. Just doing a nice hip opener to begin before we come up to standing. Good. All right, so from here, come on up to standing. So you'll probably want to come on to hands and knees, step a foot forward, and then come on up. All right, so have your chair nearby and your blocks. I'm just going to move my blanket over to the side here. Good. All right, so coming back to the center of the mat. We'll just start in mountain pose, Tadasana, getting our foundation here. So legs are hip width apart, feet parallel with one another. Distribute the weight between the balls of the feet and the heels. Lift up through the arches. Tighten the front of the thighs. Arms alongside the body, a few inches away from it. Palms facing each other. Good. Lift and tighten the abdominals. Lengthen the spine from the tailbone all the way up to the crown of the head. Picking the shoulders up, rolling them down the back. Good. Bringing the neck back a little bit so that your ears are right over your shoulders, but keep your chin parallel to the floor. And then gazing forward, come back to your nice, even breathing. And just take a few breaths. Good. All right, so now we're going to focus on the sides of the body. So we'll start warming them up. Take a nice big inhale, bring those arms up, clasp your hands, but leave your index fingers, I don't know if you can see, the index fingers are pointing up. Good, take a nice big inhale, and with the exhale, just bend to the right. Now only go as far as you can that you can keep that left shoulder open. Good, then inhale back to center, and exhale, bend to the left. Good. Inhale, center. Let's try that again. If this bothers your arms, you're welcome to just keep your hands on your hips. Good. Inhale and exhale to the left. Good. Come back to center. Release those arms down. Wiggle it out. And then keeping everything nice and loose. Keep those knees loose. We're just going to do a little twist here, letting the arms just swing side to side. Loosening up the back. Good. And coming back to center. And then we're going to come into tree pose. So if you want to grab your chair and bring it over to the sides, go ahead and feel free to do that. All right, so we'll start by shifting the weight. Let's start with the weight in the left leg. We're going to bend the right knee, turning the knee out on the diagonal. Bringing the right foot over, either resting it on the left ankle or picking it up, putting it on the outside of the left calf. And then bringing the hands to prayer. And again, keep a hand on the chair if you need to, extending one arm up, possibly two. Find your gazing point. Continue to breathe. Good, and then exhale, bring the arms down, release that right leg, walk it out. Good, I probably should have had the chair on the other side, but okay, leave that there. Now we'll shift the weight over to the right leg. Try it on the left. So bending the left knee, taking that on the diagonal. Again, keeping toes on the floor if you need to, bringing the hands to prayer. Or picking the foot up, bringing it to the outside of the calf. Good. So once you're stable here, got your gazing point, extending the arms up or keeping a hand on the chair. Keep those abs tight. Good. Continue to breathe. Good. And then exhale, go ahead and bring those arms down. Release that left leg. Shake it out, wiggle it out. Good. All right. So now keep the chair, or bring the chair to the long end of the mat and turn it so that the seat of the chair is facing you. So I'm actually going to go by my green mat here, not the pink one, so that I can show you what we're going to do. All right. So just leave the chair there for a second. We're going to come into a forward fold, but before we do that, we're going to come into star pose. Now, we tried this last week. We're going to do an isometric contraction using the muscles, those glutes, muscles in the buttocks of the hip. So I'm going to stand this way for right now just to show you what you're going to do. So you're going to come into this wide stance. Now your chair is going to be right in front of you. I'm going to turn in a minute. So you want to have your feet as wide as you safely can. Okay? And then bring those arms up to shoulder height. So this is called star pose. You can see why. Now, isometrically, which means you're going to contract the muscle, but you're not going to actually move it. I want you to imagine you're trying to split your mat in half. So you're going to press through the pinky toes of your 2 feet. And as you do that, you should feel those muscles, the glutes. It's actually the little glute muscles mainly that are working. So push through the legs, through the feet, and just hold there for a couple of seconds. Now, when you do an isometric contraction, make sure you're breathing. Because when you contract, you want to hold your breath, but it's important to keep breathing. Good. Great way to strengthen those muscles. Good. And then exhale. You're going to keep your legs where they are. I'm going to turn. You're going to stay where you are because we're going to come forward, put the hands on the chair. If you're really flexible and you can come down and without rounding your back, put your hands on the floor. Here's where you may want to grab your blocks instead of the chair. So you may want to do one of these things, okay? I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me do this a little bit better. All right, so having the chair in front of you, or if you're a little more flexible, then your blocks. All right, so you're in your wide stance. Bring your hands down to those leg creases, not your waist, but down here because you're going to bend from the hip. I usually turn my feet in a little bit. So take those heels out just a tad. Inhale to lengthen. Here's where you're bending from. As you exhale, keep the back straight. Coming forward, when you're about 45 degrees, bring your hands down to the chair. And then if you can, extend forward. The minute you start to feel this rounding, then come back up a little bit, and then that's where you're going to stay. If you're a little more flexible, again, in the hamstrings, and if you need to keep a bend in the knee, go ahead and do that too. The important thing is keeping the back straight. Here's where the blocks come in. So you can have your hands on the blocks, depending on the height. Maybe here, maybe even the floor. But the key is to keep the back straight. If you've got your hands on the chair, then see if you can come down to your forearms. Now, as far as pushing the weight back, it's back a little bit in your hips, but don't come too far past your feet with your hips, okay? All right, then whether you're here on the chair, maybe you're even here, or the blocks, just take a few breaths here. Good. And then to come up out of the pose, bring those hands back to those leg creases. With an inhale, lift yourself up. Good. Now, walk your feet in so that you can bring them close enough to then step those legs together. All right. Go ahead and put the blocks to the side. Now you'll want to move your chair to the narrow edge of the mat and turn it around. So you have the back of the chair facing you. All right. So we're going to start by facing the chair. And we're going to come into a high lunge. So I want you to use the chair if you need to. We'll start by shifting the weight into the left leg. Bend the right knee. As you step that right foot back, now this is a wide stance because you're going to stay on the ball the right foot. Then bend the left knee. Keep the hips facing forward. If you need to keep a hand on the chair, go ahead and do that. And then we'll lift that right arm up. Otherwise, bringing both arms up, lifting the torso, and gazing forward. Good. And then as you exhale, shift the weight forward, step that right foot forward. We'll try it on the other side. So shifting the weight over to the right leg, bend the left knee, and then as you step that left leg back, again, it's going to be a wide stance because you're on the ball, that left foot, then bend the right knee, stacking it right over the ankle. Have those hips facing forward. Keep the right hand on the chair if you need to. Otherwise, bringing both arms up. Good, gazing forward. You can see we're strengthening those glutes. It's going to help you in this pose. Good, continue to breathe. Good, and then we'll exhale, shift the weight forward, stepping the legs forward. So I have to make a correction. I said we were working towards triangle pose. We're actually working toward warrior two, but we're going to do triangle pose. So I apologize for that. So let's take the chair. If you like using the chair for triangle, then start by bringing it to the back of the mat on your right side. And if you like using a block for triangle, then grab a block. If not, then we'll just have your hand on your leg. All right, we're going to come back to that nice wide stance. Remember, triangle, we keep the legs straight. So we'll start by turning that right foot out at 90 degrees. Line up the right heel with the instep of the left foot. Good. And you'll notice that left hip is angled a little bit to the right. That's okay. From the waist up, turn and face the front. Bring the arms up to shoulder height. With an inhale, lengthen the spine. And then with the exhale, you're going to shift the weight over to the left so you can lean to the right as far as you can. Now here's where you may want to keep a hand on the chair. Bring it down to the block. Maybe your thigh, shin ankle, whatever keeps that left shoulder open. And then extending the left arm up towards the ceiling, keeping it on your hip if need be. Good. Tightening the front or the top of the right thigh. Good. And continue to breathe. Good. And then with the inhale, lift that torso back up. Exhale, bring the arms down. Turn that right foot forward. And then we'll try it on the left. If you did use the chair, then just bring it over here to the left side. If you used your block, pick your block up. Turn that left foot out now at 90 degrees. Again, lining up the heel with the instep of the right foot. Keeping that left leg straight, tightening the front of the thigh, bringing the arms up. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, shift the weight to the right as you lean to the left. And then just bring that left arm down when you've gone as far as you can, keeping that right shoulder open. Again, maybe it's on the block, that chair, your shin, ankle. Everybody's going to be different here. Good. Bringing that right arm up. Continue to breathe. Work on keeping the right shoulder open. Arms are in line with one another. Good. And then with the inhale, lift the torso. Exhale, bring the arms down. Go ahead and turn the left foot forward. So now we're going to come into Warrior Two. So with Warrior Two, just like triangle, you want to have as wide a stance as you safely can. We'll come back to the right leg. So you're going to turn that right foot out again, lining up the heel with the instep. Now we're going to bend the right knee. The important thing for Warrior Two is keeping the knee not only stacked above the ankle, but in line with your toes. Because as you turn to face the front, then you tend to bring that knee forward. So keeping that knee in line with the toes, you'll see how that left hip points now to the right. That's okay. You've got those legs set. From the waist up, you're going to turn the torso forward. So just make sure that knee stays in line with your toes. And then bringing the arms up to shoulder height. Now, if you have shoulder issues, just keep the hands on the hip. Good. Lifting up through the sides of the body, extending out through the fingertips, and then turning to look out over that middle right finger. Good. You should feel the glute working in that left leg. Press down into your feet for stability. Continue to breathe. Good. And then with the inhale, go ahead and straighten the right knee. Exhale, bring the arms down. Turn that right foot forward. We'll try it on the left. Good. And then when you've got your feet set, go ahead and bend that left knee. Again, knee is stacked over the ankle and in line with your, about the second or third toe. And then from the waist up, facing forward, bringing those arms up. Good. Reaching through those fingertips as you turn and look over the middle left finger. Come back to your nice, even breathing. And then with the inhale, straighten the left leg, release the arms down, turn the left foot in, and then walk your feet in, heel toe, till you can step the legs together. All right, from here, we're going to come back down on the mat. So go ahead and put your chair and your blocks to the side. And as you come down on the mat, we're going to extend the legs out in front of us, roll on your side so that you come down on your back. And we're going to come into bridge pose. So you want to walk those heels up towards your sits bones. Good, and keep so the feet should be just about hip width apart. And then remember your arms you can keep the upper arms on the mat, extend the fingertips up, and then as you lift, you're gonna press into those upper arms. Or once you've extended the hips, then bringing the arms under the back. So either one. All right, here we go. As you lift, you're going to press into your heels and imagine you're trying to slide your feet down the mat. You're going to feel those hamstrings activate. All right, here we go. So with your inhale, go ahead and lift. Good. So either keep the arms here or extend them under the back. Bring my feet forward a little bit. And then what you want to do is roll on each side to tuck the shoulder under the back. Come back to your nice, even breathing. Good, and continue to breathe. Take a break when you need to, and then try it again. Good. If you did have your hands under the body or your arms, then extend them out to the side and exhale. Come back down to the mat and just rest it out for a second. And then bringing the arms out at shoulder height, palms facing up, come into a twist. So press into your feet, lift the hips up just about an inch or so. Take them over to the right, about 2 or 3 inches, and then pick your feet up off the mat, stack the knees over the hips, and drop the knees to the left. Now your right shoulder is going to want to come up, so press into the back of the left hand, try to keep that right shoulder down, and then turn and look to the right. Good. If your knees don't come down to the mat, you may want to try putting a block under them. If you have a bolster, a couple blankets, anything like that to support the legs is fine. That way you can relax a little bit more into the twist. Good, and then with the inhale, bring the legs back to center. Bring the feet down, lift the hips up, so you'll come back to center and then shift them over to the left. Again, picking the feet up and then dropping the knees to the right and turning to look out over the left shoulder. If you feel that left or the right shoulder coming up now, if you feel the left shoulder coming up, press into the back of the right hand. That will help to get that shoulder on the mat. Good, and then bringing those legs back to center. Go ahead and bring the feet down. Shift the hips back to the center. And then rolling onto your right side, using your left hand to push yourself back up. And grabbing your blanket and your strap. Come back up to a seated position. Sitting up on your blanket. We're going to come into a forward fold. So again, sitting on your blanket or even the block helps to lift the hips, tilts the pelvis forward a little bit to help keep that low back straight. So extending the legs out in front of you. We'll start by keeping the right leg extended. You're going to bend the left knee and bring the sole of the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Feet up a little bit on my blanket. And then using your strap, bring the strap around the ball of the right foot, holding on to each end of the strap, walking the arms down, and then pulling the shoulders down the back. Tighten the front of the right thigh. You'll feel the back of the thigh being pressed down towards the mat. And then if you feel a nice stretch in the hamstring here, stay right here. That's exactly what we're looking for. If you are a little more flexible, maybe walking your hands forward a little bit, the key here is keeping that back straight. So as soon as you start to feel a rounding, back off and come back up where you can keep the back straight. Good. And then come back to your nice, even breathing. Good. And then go ahead and lift the torso, release your strap, and we'll try it on the other side. So when you extend that left leg, just make sure it's in line with your hip. It's not over here or anything. It's straight out in front of you. Your knees and toes are pointing up. And then just bring the sole of the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Now, if your knee is up a little bit, grab your block and just rest your knee on your block if the knee doesn't come all the way down. Again, or a folded blanket, whatever, to rest that knee on. All right, and then we'll take that strap now around the left leg. Extend those arms. Again, pull the shoulders down the back. That's going to pull your toes in towards you. Tighten the top of the left thigh. Good. You feel a nice stretch in the hamstring and continue to breathe. Good, and then go ahead and inhale, lift the torso, release your strap. Go ahead and put your strap and your block to the side. We'll come down on the mat for a hip opener, our reclined pigeon. Oh, so you may want to keep your strap handy for that. I'll show you what you can use that for. But gather up anything else that you would need for Savasana. Have your blanket nearby, maybe your socks or a little sweater if you're chilly. And then lowering yourself back down to the mat and on your back. So we'll come back into that pre-bridge position with the knees bent, feet on the floor. And then we'll take the right foot and you're going to cross it over the left thigh. So that knee opens out to the right. And depending on how tight that hip is, take that right hand and place it on that right knee and then gently push that knee open. Maybe this will be enough for you right here to get a nice stretch in that right hip. So you can start here. Now, if you're a little more flexible and you want to deepen it, Then we're going to pick up that left foot and pull the right knee or the right leg in towards you. Here's where your strap can come in handy, because you can put the strap around the left thigh and use that to kind of pull that leg in a little bit. Otherwise, you can take the right hand and thread it through that little triangle that your right thigh made, and then put your hands behind the left thigh and pull that in. So wherever you're feeling a nice stretch, just hold it there. Continue to breathe. Good, and then as you exhale, bring that left foot down and cross the right. Let's try it on the other side. So again, whatever works for you, if just pressing that left knee out, using the strap around the right thigh now, pulling that in towards you, or threading the left hand through that triangle, holding on to the back of the right thigh with both hands. And just bringing that left shin a little closer to your chest. Good. And breathing. Good, and then go ahead and release that right leg down and cross the left leg. Go ahead, and if you use your strap, just put it to the side. And then whatever you need to do to prepare for Savasana, extending the legs out, bringing the arms alongside the body, palms facing up. So while you get yourself in that position, I'm going to come up to seated position, and I will walk you through a few moments of meditation. So once you've made yourself comfortable, go ahead and close the eyes, turning the attention back to the breath. The inhale. Notice the exhale. Feel the breath as it enters the nostrils and flows into the lungs. Focus on the rib cage as it expands with each inhale and contracts with each exhale. Focus on the physical body. Relax all the muscles from the feet all the way up to the crown of the head. Release any tension. Or tightness. Focus on the mind. Release any thoughts, worries, or anxieties. With your next inhale, think the word so. And with the exhale, think the word which means I am. Or use any other words or phrase that has meaning to you. Give yourself just a few moments to completely let go. Begin to deepen your breath. And then start moving the fingers and the toes. And then the wrists and the ankles. And when you're ready, bending both knees and rolling onto your right side in a fetal position. And taking a few breaths here. And then using your left hand to support you, pushing yourself back up into a seated position. And keeping the body relaxed and the eyes closed for another moment. Focus on the intention that you set at the beginning of the practice. And then we'll take one more deep cleansing breath. So take a nice big inhale and exhale it all out by blowing or sighing it out. And then go ahead and lift your head and open your eyes. Thank you all so much for joining me. Namaste.